All right, here we go. OverDrive, off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 4. Bryan Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
What's
Dude, can I ask you something?
How's everyone doing? No, you can't ask me something. I'm not interested in what you're going to ask me.
No?
Not really, because I know what it's going to be about. How'd you take the Jets last night? The Jets are the biggest joke in pro sports.
No,
of course, the Niners are going to smoke them last night.
My only question is,
Yeah.
do you think I'm stupid? I tried to tell you that I got a great buy. I know I'm not like
that.
Joe Football Picker,
I know that.
but you are listening to a guy who's going off of 10-year stats on like opening game, and it's like he'll go off stats that are like playing a team that went to the Super Bowl. That stuff sometimes is out the window, and you go, I gotta go on gut instinct. Like sometimes it's just San Fran's really good, and the Jets have really proven nothing.
Yeah.
But you guys got all fired up on Aaron Rodgers, and you guys were just, I could see the love in your eyes. You were like, Aaron Rodgers is like going to keep this game really close. He was okay last night. The guy hasn't played in a year, and he's 40 years old.
I know that. I spent the whole offseason saying I don't believe in the Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a really tough time. I know his talent. I know his hardware and the MVPs, but 40-year-old coming off an Achilles. Nathaniel Hackett's his offensive coordinator, and it wasn't overly creative last night. And furthermore, the Niners, that's just what they do. And here's another thing. You guys were complaining so much when McCaffrey was ruled out of the game, was inactive, begging for Commissioner Doogie to rescind the pick, to pull the game.
Don't even think about rescinding the game.
I saw it on the group
exactly,
text.
Noodles, exactly.
I saw it on the group text. There was some language, there was some fighting.
Hey,
and
you know what?
guys were challenging
Doogie made the ultimate decision. Doogie put it on Twitter as the commissioner. He said, the pick is locked in, and we're going to go play ball.
And he's right to do that. And we are a team of integrity. We're a team of sportsmen. We're a team that appreciates a long marathon, right? It's not a sprint. It's a marathon. The Niners, they just breed running backs that turn into McCaffrey, that turn into Walter Payton. This time it's Jordan Mason. I don't know where this kid came from, but all of a sudden the guy's a superstar. And credit to the Niners. The Jets did exactly what most people expected them to do. And we got it wrong, and we had a tough week. And I can't be the only one speaking on behalf of my team. I happen to have my better half in studio. Al's brother is still here.
Dude, this guy's still in that building.
I thought you wouldn't allow him in the building. I got to be honest. I have to be honest, because Hayes, I thought this guy would be on waivers right now.
I'm telling you guys one thing. If you lose the next game, like if we pick on Thursday night,
yes.
If we win, you two both have to wear a clown suit on Friday. I'm sorry. There's got to be some consequences. If we get it to 7-1 or whatever, you're wearing clown suits Friday, and you deserve it.
Not this early into the year. We can't accept those terms, right, Al's brother? Like, it's early. It's a process for us.
We're working.
Yeah, exactly. We're about information. Now we've seen every team. Now there's no excuse moving forward.
All right, let me ask the guy on the. Let me ask the other guy, Al's brother. Are you? Look,
stern talking to. That is a stern talking.
Al's brother has a load in his shorts. He is
that is a stern
out.
You
Al's
made
brother,
me look bad. Like, you know what? What we need to do is have a competition to quote that. Like, you know how people say, like, what is being said?
Oh, yes.
Like,
Caption.
what is being
best caption?
Caption that picture.
Yeah.
That's
Al's
what
brother,
we need to
do. Are you gonna like? I just said to Hayes, like, the whole idea of the last 5 years in Game 1 against teams that went to the Super Bowl, I think you got to get off of those type of trends.
Those trends are tough, I will say, historical trends like that, because, the teams are always different. But, when I speak to sharp bettors, like they consistently throw those numbers out to me, and those guys have made a lot of money doing this. They're professionals.
Made a lot of money.
I get sucked into these trends all the time. All the time.
Better.
It's a vortex.
Who are these people?
What's a sharp? What's a sharp? Define a sharp better.
A sharp better is just people who pick games correctly.
I don't. It's
Not
such
me
an
at this
empty
point.
calorie statement, and it's such a. They're dull betters. They're dull betters.
It's a friend of his that Al's brother thinks is smart. That's what he's talking
football
about.
betting
That's my
and
concern.
football betting professionals would be considered sharp betters. The
Right.
whales
Fair
out
enough,
there
yeah.
who put big money down are the sharp betters, and they keep coming back to these historical trends. Like I had a guy on. I was doing the show last Friday on Gameplay. We had a guy on, and he said, "Oh, keep in mind this trend on Monday night. You know, football teams, when they lose the Super Bowl, it's a hangover's real. 5-14. This guy's a professional football betting analyst, and he's throwing these numbers out to me. So I'm like, all right, let's store that in the old noggin.
Yeah.
Comes back to bite you in the ass.
Worthy of consideration. I think you got to give credit where credit's due. We were on the wrong side of the Browns Cowboys game too,
Yeah, there's
but the
some
Cowboys
tough
played
ones.
great. The Niners were really good last night. There was no hangover. Like Brock Purdy did exactly what he's done since he got that starting job. No McCaffrey. That could have been a real issue for them. McCaffrey not playing. All the contract issues. You know, the Super Bowl hangover. You got the Jets in town. They're getting Super Bowl love. And the Niners absolutely smacked them around immediately. I thought they defended them well. I
Yeah.
thought their offense had exactly what you would expect out of a Shanahan coach team. And I think the Niners made a statement. I think the Lions made a statement. I think the Chiefs made a statement. Like the best teams in the league coming out of week one, they can all look back and say, watch the tape. That's what we're all about.
Yeah.
And
we took the wrong trend, Hazy B.
we're on the wrong trend, but I still believe in you, and this is why
Okay.
I wanted you to stick around. Vote of confidence. I'm like Mark Shapiro.
Oh, yeah,
you're
you
my
gotta-
Ross Atkins. You and I, we ride together, Ellis brother.
Okay.
And listen, it's been a tough start.
There's got to be a but though. Like
Well,
we're gonna ride. We're gonna continue to ride together, but something's got to change.
What I will
Ross.
say is-
Ross's brother.
Ross's brother. What is going to be considered? I'm going to take the next 24 to 48 hours to figure out an approach for week 2. So
Okay.
you may receive a Zoom invite. Make sure you accept it. If you're on time, you're late. All right. If you're on time, you're late to the Zoom invite. You and I will have a discussion in the next 2 days. We'll make a call in week 2. But beyond that, I'm not concerned. Is that acceptable for you, Al's brother?
I think I can
We are
accept
a partnership.
that.
We are a partnership.
Look, the behavior over this weekend, the horrendous information that I accumulated, okay?
Behavior now.
It definitely does deserve a discussion between you and I. I thought that I had my head on straight when it came to coming. You know what the problem is? I talked about it last week, you know, and Luke asked me, he said, what are you going to do different this year? And I said, you know what? We're going to go more gut instinct. You know, we're going to switch it from 80-20 to more 60-40. And my game plan, I got punched in the mouth week 1, and the game plan went out the window come Friday.
Yep.
I got to get back to it. I got to remember more gut instinct.
Gut instinct.
Get back to the 60-40.
I love it, Al's
Can
brother.
JP or Joe from the bridge, can you just play that drop again of him yelling the Jets?
I like There was so much conviction in that.
He sold
such
it.
a believer.
He was sitting beside me. I'm like, this guy is going to swallow the microphone.
Jets by 100. I was
Yeah,
like,
it
Jets
was-
by 100.
it was.
I felt good about it. And you know, this Jordan Mason guy, especially, like, be honest, Hayes.
Yeah.
Yesterday when that Christian McCaffrey news broke at like 6:45.
Loved it.
15 minutes before the game, you had to be thinking, we got the number at 4.5 for the Jets. We're
Yes.
looking solid. Because imagine the shoe was on the other foot, and I caved in and I said, all right, Hazy B, let's actually take the Niners. And that information comes out, you would have been sweating.
I would have been
kickoff.
before the game, and then after the
Yeah.
game, we would have been ecstatic. But that's
Exactly.
neither here nor there. It's all good. Partsy, you're still my Partsy. Look out for that Zoom invite. You and I will have a
Thank you.
conversation some point midday tomorrow, I would suggest. Okay? There it is.
You're ready.
Al's brother. One half, and a very important half of Hayes and Bro. Wanted that established out of the gate. A lot of people were waiting for it. This is how bad it is last night. All right. So the game's about to start. I'm prepping. I was on with Jay last night, and I had a bunch going on. I'm with my kids. I'm trying to get my kids down, and I, walk into the room. My wife's sitting there, and the game's on, and she goes, "Who did you take?" I said, "We took the Jets," and she was flabbergasted.
Really?
It's like, the Jets. They're awful. The Jets. Like, my wife is chirping me before kickoff
And she
of a
knew.
game. And she knew, and she called it.
Yeah.
And this morning, she brought it back up. She's like, I can't believe you two buffoons took the Jets. I'm like, thank you. Have a great day. Yeah, I'm getting it on Twitter's ruthless right now.
Yeah.
It is ruthless, and we deserve everything we get. It's early, but it's not a good start.
I think you at least have to explore what I did last year. We had to get a consultant, and we brought in Hot Rod Smith.
Yeah, we might need
think
one.
A consultant at some capacity I mean, there's a bunch of people out there. Carol Wagland's out there.
Yeah.
Takia Singh.
Yes.
Anybody.
Davis,
Anybody.
Davis. There's a lot of people that really know football.
You need a consultant at the top that's ahead of you and Al's brother.
Like a mentor. Like bring in a veteran mentor.
Okay.
That can help, and maybe it'll stabilize the team. That's maybe what it is. You guys just need a reset.
All right.
That's what it is. You might need a reset after week one. I'm
have you ever seen an organization
really.
where management types need a reset? That's what we're talking about.
O'Win Willson.
I think the Blue Jays management needs a reset. I'll be honest.
But they're around forever. They don't ever go anywhere.
And I like them. That's not a shot.
It's not a personal shot, but professionally,
right now,
winning's not a high priority right now.
It's not. And listen, I was concerned that Vladdy, he had the boot
okay.
on.
He's playing tonight.
Looked like he just took one hard off the left
shin or foot, I guess it was.
But I mean, there is some bright spots there. There is, I try to believe our analysts that, Steve Phillips was just painting a picture last week, saying, I could see a pathway. There's a lot of people saying they could see a pathway. So maybe there's just an off year for the Blue Jays. I don't think so, but
that's what you got to hope for. I mean, you got to hope that,
right?
Some of these young players who have brought something to the table, Addison Barger and Spencer Horowitz and Will Wagner, and there's a number of guys, and maybe Elvis Martinez gets into camp and hits the ground running next year, and there's a bat that you can add to the lineup in some capacity, and they're going to have to get creative. Undoubtedly, they have to get creative. They're going to have to spend some money. They got to figure out what they're going to do with Vladdy and Bo, but that's not imperative for next year. Those guys are on term next season.
Yeah.
Like that. Like it is getting a little bit crazy in sports. I'm sure you guys saw McDavid was speaking with the media today. And I understand, the hypersensitivity to McDavid and what he means and what he represents to the Oilers. And you're from there, Noodles. I'm sure there's still PTSD of Gretzky leaving and the Gretzky trade, and that will hang over the city forever.
Yeah.
And it's always like, well, what's going to happen next with this guy? But he has 2 years left.
Yeah.
He's not going anywhere for 2 years. I think it seems very likely he sticks around, especially after the Draisaitl deal.
His best friend just signed for 8 years.
Exactly. But he's got 2 years left. He's not a free agent in December. It's not like the trade deadline's around the corner and they're 10 points out and they might trade the guy. He's there for 2 more years.
I know, but
he can't answer this every single day.
Hayes, you say this, so I'm going to apply it out there being from there, okay? You say there is some inferiority complex about Canadian teams when it comes to the NBA and, the Major League Baseball, all of that. Same situation with smaller cities. That Edmonton, again, from there, grew up there. Our boy Strutty lives there. It's not for everybody. But McDavid's been there for a long time. And the fan base, they haven't won yet. That's what they're trying to win. I think all bets are off if they win. But they didn't. They lost. So, you're hoping for them at that fan base. They've got their fingers crossed going, hey, we can try and go right back to the final. It's not going to be easy. I'll tell you what.
No, it's
Florida
not.
did it. And the odds are probably against it instead of for it. Although, FanDuel has them number one.
On FanDuel, they got the shortest odds.
New Jersey's clear cut at 3, though.
Of course. Of course. Jersey's
That's the Jets. They're the Jets. They're the Jets.
They're the Jets. Love an offseason. The best offseason of all time.
But getting back to the market, it is, until he's signed, long-term again, people will start to question, and then there'll be the whispers. Yeah, I heard my cousin's brother's uncle said that he was looking at a place in L.A., and same thing that Draisaitl had and all of that. We don't know what McDavid's going to do, but the luxury that fans do have in Edmonton is he's locked in for the next 2 years. Next year, if it's still starting the season and he doesn't have a deal, now I'd be concerned.
Now you bring it up. For sure, and it's reasonable journalism. And not that today wasn't either. The first time he's speaking after the Draisaitl deal, I get it. Hey, where are you at? But it's totally reasonable for him to say, guys, I have 2 years.
Yes.
2 years is an eternity.
What kind of update are you looking for?
I know. It's listen, let's not pretend like it doesn't happen in Toronto. There are people already asking Austin Matthews, you going to stick around long term? He's got 4 years left on his deal. Now that you're the captain, does this mean you're a Leaf forever? I don't know, man. 4 years is a long time. How are you even supposed to answer a question like that? But there was some Leaf news today. Nick Robertson ended up signing, 1 year, $875,000. You got a take? Okay, what's your take on
this?
that?
I like it, and I'm happy for the kid because you know what? It's not a rich deal, so it's good for the organization. But we talked about it yesterday and at length here for a week now, is that left side is wide open. Go play. Kid had, 14 goals last year?
13, and he didn't play a ton,
60 games. Like, if there's an opportunity and a pathway here, if he's got his head on straight, which it sounds like, he signs the deal, away you go, and he's in shape and he's ready to play, he might have an opportunity to climb the lineup. And yes, there is going to be, from what it looks like on that left side, a healthy competition. And isn't that what you want? In certain, there's no competition number one centerman. We know that, that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. Number one defenseman. It's more the healthy competition on the team that I can see right now is on that left side, where you've got guys who are capable of doing it, but they haven't played in the league 10 years. So McMahon, Nyes, Holmberg, Robertson, Connor DeWar, I think, is a fourth-line guy for me. Mm-hmm. But Max Pacioretty, it sounds like.
Well, and Pacioretty's coming in, and Pacioretty is the one that is different than all of them because he's been in the league for a long, long time. He's a veteran, yet he hasn't been healthy in years.
Who knows what he has left in the tank? And, guys, as far as Robertson's concerned, at the end of the day, he had no leverage. He said he was what did he say? He wanted to get traded, and they're like, well, we're not trading you. And then it's like, okay, then you're signing, and he signed. It's like when you're at that age and you're at that position, you don't have a ton of leverage. What was he going to do, sit at home? Was that going to scare anybody or something? I don't know. He still ultimately might get traded. That could still happen. Apparently there's some interest in the kid, but at the end of the day, it's you just got to chomp on it, sign a deal, and try to become – and whether the coach didn't like him or he didn't deserve it, there was a lot of nights where he would score a goal, and after that he would do nothing else. So he's got to find a way to be an everyday NHL player and be responsible and be physical and all the things that come along with being an NHL player. As handy and as kind of impressed as everyone was of him coming in, not a lot of time, not a lot of ice, and boom, score a goal. After that, there wasn't a whole lot there.
Yeah.
So he's got to become a well-rounded player because in the league, you can either be exceptional at one thing, goal scoring, hitting, physicality, or you got to be a well-rounded player. He's not talented enough to rely on goal scoring alone. He has got to become a well-rounded player to stick around and be an everyday NHL player. End of story.
Well, then he's got an opportunity to do that instead of watching it on TV from his couch because of a holdout or a trade request. You know what? Go play hockey. Everyone's watching. So if it's not a fit, and keep in mind, you just mentioned if he had a problem with the coach, Craig Berube's never coached him. It's a clean slate for everybody. There might be a guy that was a lock that we thought maybe was a lock for top 9, and Craig Berube goes, nah, that guy's not playing in my top 9.
And guess what, Noodles? The stuff that he was doing that drove Sheldon Keefe nuts, Craig Berube might hate him even more than Sheldon Keefe. So he's not exactly out of the woods yet. He's Craig Berube will be a stickler on getting pucks in, getting pucks out, not getting knocked off it, responsibility, all that stuff. He might be worse. He might be worse than the kid. Who knows?
But you know what? The thing is we don't know until we know. Keep in mind, you mature the more years and experience you get under your belt. He might be watching game tape and go, I know I have to make a better play there, and be more realistic in his evaluation. I don't know. You could speak to it. You were a young guy in the National Hockey League. I broke in at 22. My third year pro, the light kind of went on for me. It was okay, I'm going to do this for a living. I'm going to try and stay here as long as I can. You became more of just a more mature person your third, fourth, fifth year because you understood the league. Maybe the light goes on for this kid, and it's okay, because he is still a kid technically, just because he's been around for a while. You think that he's 26, 27. What is he? Is he 22? I think.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. So I hope he settles in and makes a run on that left side, and if not, you mentioned there will be a marketplace for this kid because he can score, and scoring still at a premium in the league.
Yeah, and I would guess that's the play that the Leafs have probably made here. This is all you're getting, this is all you're worth, and we want you to come in, play. If it doesn't work for you, we'll move you down the road. We're not going to move you on your terms.
They might trade him before camp.
They
Who
could.
knows?
Maybe they will. And again, that might come down to how Pacioretty looks and how if Easton Cowan's ready to play.
Right.
You talk about competition. There's a handful of spots where there isn't any, and there's a number of players who we know are playing on the team. If they're here, they're playing.
Yes.
But they're slotted in a position where you know where they are. We know what's going on the right side. We know what's going on with the top 2 centers. We know basically what's going on with the top 3 or 4 defensemen. But there is a battle in net, I think, definitively, who's going to be the better goalie, and whoever's running hot will probably play. There's a battle for the bottom, I'd say 2 or 3 spots on defense. Maybe not necessarily on the whiteboard, but where they fit on the whiteboard. And certainly up and down the left side and on the fourth line. And, you've got a new coach. You've got a relatively new GM. You've got a new scouting staff. You got a lot of new here in Toronto in terms of the decision makers for who's going to play and why they're going to play. And from that standpoint, I think it's going to make for a pretty intriguing camp. All right, Confirm or Deny coming up later this hour. Keegan Matheson will join us from the Dome tonight just after 5. We'll get his take on the status of Vlad. He's in the lineup tonight, so he's playing. It looks like it's all good. His take on Bo Bichette's recent comments about wanting to stay here long term, who he sees in terms of the young players that could have a legit impact on the team the rest of this year and into next year. So Keegan's coming up. Kevin Harlan called the ball game last night. Kevin will join us in the 6 p.m. hour. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
I can neither confirm or deny that this is in fact a segment.
Austin trades Andrew Raycroft to Toronto in exchange for the rights to Tuukka Rask.
It's been my honor and a privilege to serve as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club.
It's time for Confirm or Deny.
Do you regret giving all those gentlemen the no trades or no movement clauses?
I can neither confirm or deny that.
I can't confirm or deny.
All right, Confirm or Deny brought to you by Summit Ford and South Lake Ford Lincoln, where there's no such thing as a no-trade clause. Any make, any model, anytime. Visit summitford.com or southlakeford.com today. Confirm or Deny, very simple. Statements are made. We confirm them or we deny them. Confirm or Deny, Max Pacioretty should wear number 67 in Toronto.
Oh, God. God almighty.
Why, like I said, because of the cup thing?
I'll start deny. Deny. You can't wear that number in this city. You can't. You can't have 67
You know what?
affiliated with the team.
I'm going to confirm it because it'll just exercise the demons. It's like, let's not hide away from it. That's his number. He's worn it his whole career. Screw it. Wear it. Exercise the demons. It's just like Joe Boo in Major League where he had to go get the guy something or other in the clubhouse to exercise the demons.
Yeah.
I'm
He
saying
was a
go with
KFC
it.
chicken. They brought in the bucket of chicken. But so you're saying because of 1967, you don't want him to wear. Are you going that far into superstition? I didn't realize that.
It's not about superstition. That's a curse word. That's an inflammatory term and number.
It's a swear word. It's a swear word.
It's
in the city.
insulting. If you walk by a Leaf fan and just whisper 67, they might clock you. It's a number you don't want to be affiliated with. It hangs over the city. Robert Saleh, I think, was number 67, and it didn't work out well for Bob Saleh.
He was a good player.
He was a really good player.
He was a fine player. I don't think he was a great
Yeah.
Leaf. Was he on your team? I don't know. Was he here when you were here? I can't remember.
No,
when
he
was here.
was not. No.
Played in Florida, I remember.
Yeah.
Right-handed
He's a good
defenseman.
player, but I'm pretty sure he was 67. I think he was, and someone should have got to him and said, "Bob, not good, not a good idea."
I think, but we've all known Max Pacioretty at that number. If he wants to play in the National Hockey League at that number, who's the head trainer there that assigns numbers?
It's probably Bobby, isn't it? Yeah,
so
Bobby
Hastings is going to go, nope, can't do it.
Bobby's a smart man. Bobby's from Toronto.
Bobby's
Bobby
a very
knows.
smart man.
Bobby knows.
But if Max Pacioretty wants 67, I say go at it, man. Like, what do you want this guy to do? What you want him to do is turn the clock back. You remember Pacioretty playing his best hockey. Was it in Montreal? He's flying down the wing, right?
Like, Hayes, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think guys are going to skate by him and say, "Oh, sick"? Like,
It's not about the other guys. The other guys in the league don't think that way.
What is the down for you? Like, what is the reason for you to say?
It just doesn't seem like a number that should have any association with. Yeah, exactly. It's almost like a reversed retired number. You know what I mean? Like it's in the same frame of a retired number, but obviously not with the same reverence. Like the complete opposite. It's like Bizarro retired number. That's what it is. 67's a Bizarro retired number.
I don't know.
And I would suggest going against it. I just think it's maybe you're right on the exorcism. Maybe that's what it is. Like end the curse, just come on in. 67, we embrace it. Screw it, we're moving forward. That's kind of what Leiweke did. Remember, Tim Leiweke showed up. Said, get rid of all the pictures, rid of all the history. We don't want to look backwards. We want to look forwards. And people freaked out.
Well, it didn't. Yeah, I mean, he was taking legends off the wall, and like people were worked up about that. I agree, but I think what he was trying to do is build a legacy moving forward, not looking back. Like, is that the worst number when it comes to paying for the organization?
Well, 4-1 is more modern. Like 4-1 is really.
You say 4-1 to a Leaf fan, they know exactly what you're talking about.
You say 4-1. You say Zamboni. Zamboni hurts.
No, You got to say driver. You got to say
Zamboni
driver.
Hey, Zamboni driver.
Yeah,
you do have to say Zamboni driver.
I don't know.
Zamboni driver. 4-1, 1967 Zamboni driver.
Those are the three curse
pack.
words. That's the 3-pack of curse words for a Leaf fan.
I think so. And then I'm trying to think of what would be Mount Rushmore? Like, what's the fourth? Fergie.
93, like what the high stick?
Carey Fraser. Could be Fraser. Yeah, it could be Carey Fraser.
Carolina Hurricanes might be in there.
Hurricanes. That 02 Leaf team was so good, man.
I've got one.
That 02 Leaf team was so good.
I've
so
got
beloved.
One. This might hit a nerve. Tuukka Rask.
Yeah, that one. Tuukka Rask hurts.
Not the best.
Tuukka hurts.
We love Razor, though.
It wasn't. Hey, listen, he didn't trade himself. He didn't call Fergie and the crew and say,
If you want a real current one, Seth
Rask.
Jarvis. Like Seth Jarvis.
Then you're getting deep. Because then you got to look into.
You're getting deep. You got to dig through some papers to get to that one. But Seth Jarvis is a trigger word.
It can be. For like really diehards that have been following the trail, the paper trail, they know what's up when you say Seth Jarvis. All right, that might have established it. Maybe we should ask the people. We're asking people to do a lot of work for us today.
Yeah.
But, all right, moving on here. Confirm or deny, Max Pacioretty will play a top 6 role for the majority of the season.
Deny. For me, I'm denying that. But he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. This isn't the Max Pacioretty that's making $8.5 million a year. This is a guy who's had a couple surgeries. He's missed hockey the last couple of years, and he's longer in the tooth as far as age in the league. So if he can be a good supporting cast guy as a top 9, man, you've won. Like, because he's not making $8 million. If he's signed, I don't even know what the deal is.
It sounds like it could be a PTO, and then I'm sure they have a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. If you get through camp, you're healthy. Right. Here's $1.2 million or something.
But it may not even be that. It might be like whatever's left on the cap where you can have. But the point being is, he doesn't have to be a top. I'm denying it every day because I think there's other competition that will be. It'll bring the group up. I think Matthew Nyes can play there. I think. McCann can play. McMahon, sorry, I've said it again. Bobby McMahon can play again.
That's going to get you this year, man. You're going to call a Leaf game and call him McCann 15 times.
No, I'm not, because I owe him a lot more respect than that.
Well, it's an honest mistake. I know, but you're not kicking the guy in the junk.
No, but Bobby McMahon is going to get a good look there. He had a great season last year. Nick Robertson, I said, I was just looking him up. He turns 23 tomorrow. Like, he might have turned the corner and go, you know what, this is what I need to do to be an everyday NHLer. And that's what you hope. Draft and develop, and young guy making $875 can outkick his coverage. That's what you got from McMahon last year. Matthew Nyes that left side is opportunity. If I had to name one word, it's opportunity there. Okay. Max Pacioretty is going to get an opportunity, but he doesn't have to play top 9, or he doesn't have to be top 6.
Yeah, totally deny this as well. I don't see it there. It's just like I didn't see it in years past. Other teams, I just don't see him being I could see him being a third line left winger that could maybe get you 10 goals.
And he's also not, there's no way he's playing anywhere close to 75 games. I just don't see that coming. He's gone 4 straight years where he hasn't really played that much.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. We're talking about a PTO, aren't we?
Yes.
He would have to make the team.
Which, again, I think he probably has. The Leafs have some cap issues right now where if they sign him and they just signed Robertson, they got to move some money around, and those reports are out there that they're looking for a trade. I don't know who that would feature, but generally, my understanding of the way this works is if you accept our PTO, it really is a contract. You just got to wait until we get to the day 1 of camp so we can make all the math work. So I would guess they probably have negotiated what that number is going to look like, but I'm going to deny it too. I'm intrigued by it Like, he was a really good player, really, really good player, but he's had a lot of big injury problems for a number of years now. So in order to even hit the number, you got to play a lot of games. And I don't think it's reasonable to expect him in, where he is in his career to be a guy that's going to play anywhere close to 82. Confirm or deny, Brock Purdy will have a better individual season than Aaron Rodgers. Brock Purdy, better individual season than Aaron Rodgers.
Are you talking just quarterback rating?
Yes. Well, just like watching them play, even the stats, but not the team, not, all that kind of stuff, wins and losses. You watch their tape, you'll say that guy was better than the other guy this year.
I'm going from recency bias. I'm going to say yes. He's going to have a better season, better QB rating, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
I was happy for that guy last night because he was going to hear it if Aaron Rodgers, a stud quarterback, came in and beat him in game one, because the last game he played, he got beat by another stud quarterback, and all you hear is this guy can't beat a stud quarterback. I thought he was damn good last night. He had some performances, guys stepped up and played well, but I thought he was damn good, and I think he's going to have a better season.
Yep.
I'm confirming it too. I mean, Rodgers looked rusty. I don't know the ins and outs of, looking at some analysis and reading this morning saying like they kind of protected him and didn't kind of let him go last night as far as what Rodgers is capable of. But I thought there was some decision making and some rust in his game. I didn't think he looked, killer last night, but I still think Purdy is kind of dialed in, and he's got the weapons to do it too.
Mm-hmm.
If he throws somewhere near some of those receivers he's working with, they'll get it. I don't know if Rodgers has that too.
No,
right?
I'm not sure. He's not the same amount of talent around him, and I'm going to make it a 3-pack. It confirms as well. Like, Purdy didn't have to do much last night because the Jets just handed the ball over a couple times, and the Jets defense got shredded.
He's the game manager.
Yes, he is. And Jordan Mason was unbelievable. Like, that kid ran for 147 yards last night and a touchdown, and like he was, he caught a ball. It was incredible. But Purdy's also got the luxury of youth. Like, he's young. He's more motivated to win, to get the money. Rodgers has done it all. Like, Rodgers is trying to stay healthy and get to the finish line. Purdy's going to hit the ground running, and I think Purdy's going to have a really good year. Confirm or deny, Bo Bichette and Vladdy Jr. will play out all of next season with the Jays. All of next season. Every single game will be played as a Blue Jay next year for both players.
So you're not talking about anything else? But
no contract, nothing.
No, but I mean, it's nothing to do with injuries. It's like they could be either
they're just going to be a Blue
traded
Jay. Exactly. Are they going to be traded or not, effectively? Like, do you think they play out all of next season, both of them?
I got to be honest, I don't think both are coming back. And I think the one guy that is coming back is Vladdy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Bo, I just think that the comments are trying to save face, what he just said in the last week. Maybe he privately just wants out because it's been literally a nightmare year and a half, hasn't it been?
Yes,
with
it
injuries,
has.
Performance. I don't know. I think deep down inside, maybe he's just the guy that wants a change of scenery. Whether he gets it or not, I'm not sure. But I don't see them. I'm going to deny this. I don't see them both playing here.
I'm denying it too. I think Vladdy's a lock. My question mark is Bo. And what does the contract look like? I don't think it was lip service the other day, but it might be more. Hey, I want to stay, but then the offer comes in. It's like, well, maybe not. I really think it comes down to the business and the economics of it. So I'm not confident. So I'm going to deny that they both are here through next season.
Yeah, I'm conflicted on this because you can see it both ways. I think it's gone to a point now where Vladdy, they just got to find a way to sign him and put that to bed and make sure he's a Blue Jay. Just go about it. Checks every box. You're all in to win next year, or you're going to reload and try to build for the future. He's 25 years old,
and you got to live with whatever you decide with.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And you're going to pay him, and that's what it's going to be. And he wants to be here, and that's just it. Like, that's the going rate, for doing business with Vladdy Guerrero Jr. Bichette is more complicated, but I don't know. Like, there would be clearly a lot of value around the league. Like, people would be really intrigued by the idea of rehabilitating Bo Bichette. But that's kind of what it's become now, because it has been a really horrible year and a half for him because of injuries, but also because of play. When he has been healthy, he has not performed well. So you're trading him at a low value. If you're trading him for future pieces, how is that conducive to trying to be competitive next year? Feels like they might be willing to gamble on the idea of, hey, we're going to hope it works. And if he really wants to be here and it does work, we'll sign him at the end of next year. Like, maybe they'll put that to the test and say, okay, you really want to be a Blue Jay? Show us who you are next year. If you do, we'll pay you. And we will make sure you stick around. He's got 1 year left.
1 year.
Yes,
that's
him
it.
and Vladdy both have a year left, and they are unrestricted. Then go anywhere. So it's a game of chicken.
Scary
man.
because what if he's like, okay, I'm nailing it out of the park, and the Yankees are coming for me? Or
they might, but then I think you challenge them and say, "What do you said you wanted to be here? Do you want to be here? We're willing to pay you." I'm going to confirm it from that standpoint. That I don't know if you can trade him this summer because I don't know what kind of value you're getting back. And I think if this front office has one more year to win, they kind of need a shortstop in his prime, which is what Bichette is, to just be healthy and perform. Like a healthy performing Bichette helps you gain that goal.
But you know what the players think, Hayes? They're like, if you don't lock me up before, if you don't trust me and you want me to play out the year to prove it to you, when I do prove it to you, I can go wherever I want because you didn't believe in me, so screw you. That's the way that game works. It's a game of chicken right now.
Yep.
It's like, do you want to watch him have a monster year next year? Or are you going to roll the dice and hand over the cash? It's a dangerous game, man. It really is.
Yep. It's as tough as it gets in management, situation like this, because he's a marketing tool for you. He's a homegrown player. He's a guy that, by all accounts, is a leader and well-liked. And obviously the fans, know who he is, and they respond to him. And you've seen him when he's at his best. He's a really good player.
Yes. Well, yeah, that's what I was going to say. And
he's still in his prime and he's young. Like, there's so many different things, yet it hasn't gone well. The team's not going so well. What's he going to want in terms of a contract? Like, it's complicated.
Unless you trade him for somebody young from another organization.
Yes,
like,
one for one.
Yeah, 1 for 1 where people need a change of scenery. The only thing is I agree with you, Hayes. I think we've seen the best of him and we've seen the worst of him. And what they're banking on is just him getting back to what he was capable of doing when he was healthy and playing well. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think they're going to have to pay him on is based on that, not this down 18 months that we've seen.
That's where he's coming from. You know, and that's, again, a part of the complication. Is Bo's going to say the last year and a half is irrelevant. Look what I was the previous 3 years. And I'm in my mid-20s, and I play shortstop, and this is what, it's going to be difficult to find a number. But before you even start negotiating that number, you got to figure out, do you really want to commit to this guy long-term? Do you think you can win with this guy? There's very similar situation to the team down the street. Bo's drafted, developed, came up with a bang, looked great. They make the playoffs. They haven't won anything. Like, can you win if Vladdy Guerrero Jr. and Bo Bichette are your two best players? As of now, the answer is no, based on what we've seen. And there's a fair amount.
Are you going to get value? Like, this is, I don't know if everybody thinks like this, but after the year and a half that we've just seen, I'm thinking to myself, am I going to hand over a boatload of money to that guy and watch him sit in the training room for the next 5 years?
Mm-hmm.
Because that could happen. Like, once this train, we've seen it a million times. Once that calf stuff, leg stuff, knee stuff, like, that stuff can be never ending, man. Never ending.
Wow.
Look what happened last night. Christian McCaffrey, right? Last year, it was like a miracle. He stayed healthy. He was unreal.
Yes.
They rode him all the way to a Super Bowl. By the playoffs, it was like he's starting to break down. And now, opening night, he's not playing. And I don't think he'll play next week in Minnesota. Schefter was reporting that last night. And this could linger for who knows how long. And, like, would it shock you if he returned in week 3 and blew his calf out in week 5? Like, I hope that doesn't happen, obviously, but if we're being a realist here, that's kind of the trend.
Well, you want to talk about a team that has
happening.
one goal and load manage? I would load manage that guy and say, we're going to spot duty you, man. You're not playing the full season. I don't know what you have in mind, but all we care about is getting you ready for the playoffs.
It's a smart play. It's tough to do in the NFL, though, with only so many roster spots and other injuries. And
they're just certain guys you know. Certain guys you just know they're never going to be healthy. They're just either the way they play or the way that their body is. He's a guy, it seems like, but it's unfortunate because he's a hell of a player.
Yes. Yeah. Injuries, it's a part of sports. It's part of evaluation. Look what we've been talking about today. We're talking about Max Pacioretty. Like, you look at it, the last 4 years, basically, he hasn't had a full season. Yeah. And so I
Why do
guess,
you think he's having one this year?
Yeah, well, exactly. And that you just have to be realistic. Like, the guy's, he's not young. Last year he played 47 games. The year before he played 5. The year before that he played 39. The year before that he played 48.
Yeah.
Like that's his last four seasons. He's played a combined, 130 games or something in the last 4 years. Max Pacioretty, and he'll be 36
in November
this season. Yeah. So I mean, it's exciting because of who he is, the name. He was the captain of the Canadians. He's a guy that's very capable of scoring goals and putting up points. He's done that countless times in his career, but that's going back a ways. The last time he had a 30-goal season was back in 1920. He had 32 goals, 66 points with Vegas. That's 5 years ago. So you got to be realistic here.
But you hope that he turns the clock back, but that's why I think the expectations should be low. And anything's a bonus if he can stay healthy and stay in your lineup in your top 9. I think that's a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if it's $1 million or whatever, for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Confirm or deny, brought to you by Summit Ford and South Lake Ford Lincoln, where there's no such thing as a no-trade clause. Any make, any model, any time. Visit summitford.com or southlakeford.com. Confirm or deny will continue later this afternoon. We got some more in the chamber here. Actually, some really good ones will scatter through the day. Love confirm or deny.
I have the message from my golf buddy, Michael. He said, you guys have to stop it with the number 67. He said, if you believe your own bullcrap, it's true.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
Not sure what that means either.
Not following.
Maybe he just
That's
means
not your life coach, is it?
No, he just means like if you just keep thinking that 67 is this curse or whatever, like he said, let the guy wear the number. You got to move past all that stuff.
Okay. All right.
Is he buying into it? You giving him the number now?
Is he a Leaf fan, Mike, or is he a fan of like Vegas or something?
He is a diehard
Leaf fan?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then I respect that. I respect his opinion. I personally don't agree with it. I would run from that number as long as I could, but it's a Mount Rushmore number of bad vibes. Like that. Yeah. It's just a Mount Rushmore comment of Maple Leaf bad energy.
Have we come up with the Rushmore 4-pack of like just it's one's 4-1?
I think it's Carey Fraser. I think Carey Fraser is the fourth one. I really do.
Yeah, Carey Fraser would have to be up there. There's a lot of them out there, man. I mean, sadly, there's a lot of possibilities, which is disappointing.
So we're going Mount Rushmore 67, David Ayres, 4-1, and Carey Fraser.
Does that make sense?
I think so.
We'd have to talk to a historian to get back. Like, we've got to get Lance Hornby to give us the Mount Rushmore. He would know. He's a true historian.
Well, I think a lot of older Leaf fans would say like Harold Ballard too, right? Like just the name Harold Ballard.
Yeah,
that was pretty ugly. But it's not like a moment. You know what I mean?
No,
Like
that's just an era though. Like it was like years, wasn't it? With him?
He was the owner for a long time. Yeah, it was a tough
That guy
run.
was something else, man. There's some old school clips of that guy that float out there.
Yeah.
He's just a creepazoid.
He had some really weird stuff going on. Yeah, he had some really offside stuff. And that picture of me pointing at Al's brother, there's that one of him pointing at the media or something. He's trying to get in his car. He's holding his cane. He's got his glasses on. He looks just like the meanest person on earth.
Yes. I've seen some captions for Al's brother. One was saying, "Get your ass back on the cruise ship."
That's it exactly. We're loading. Get on quickly. All right.
I love that.
More on that still to come. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, Keegan Matheson from the Park coming up in about 15 minutes. Jets, I wouldn't say they got blown out last night, but the Niners just manhandled them. And I should have known based on what I saw before the game. You see the video of Robert Saleh running the stairs at the stadium.
Yeah.
The head coach, like, getting his workout in before the game.
It's a bit heroic.
It's so ridiculous. I'm sorry.
I used to do that as a player.
Yes, as a player. Of course, as a player. The guy's the coach. Get in the back and work up a scheme to stop Brock Purdy. Like, come on, dude. Work out on your own time.
Dude, Babcock did the same thing. Like, he used to have this routine. Like, he would run around the main level of the arena, and he'd tell, like, a security guy, he'd be like, "Can you time me on my way around? Let me know my time." It's just, it was so heroic. And it's like, do you need to do that? Like, you really need to do that?
Yeah.
Like, they got all kinds of great fitness stuff in the locker room.
Well, that's exactly it. You could easily do that behind the scenes. But
in my defense, I liked running the stairs because you can't just people in the NHL. They just don't just put their gear on and go out on the ice. Like I liked the burn it gave me, like that sweat. I used to fire a heat pack on my back and run up those stairs 10 times, and I had like a lather on, and that's how I got ready for a game.
And again, players are completely exempt from my stance. You're an athlete.
You totally give a hall pass to a player, a coach.
Of course. I do whatever you have to do to prepare. Everyone has different ways. You're an athlete. You're preparing to play. He's preparing to hold a clipboard and call timeouts. You don't need to run the stairs before the game.
What time was that before the game? That's my question. Because if it's 5 hours before, then have at it.
I guess.
But if it was like 90 minutes before, you probably should be doing something
late
different.
enough that there was a camera that was like, hey, there's Robert Saleh. And maybe he was like, hey, just so you know, I'm going for a run.
I think it's part of a message to the guys that they got to be fit and they gotta be ready, and it's part of the mental approach.
Does Andy Reid run the
No,
stairs?
exactly. Think Andy Reid's running the stairs? The guy's winning
Dude,
Super
I'm not
Bowls.
kidding. I think that guy buries nachos in his office. I think he does. Would it shock you?
No, it wouldn't shock me. But he's prepared, and he's ready to win.
Prepared.
He's ready to win.
A winner.
Hour 2 coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.